another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and we are in Sequoia National Park.
Sequoia National Park is home to the giant sequoia redwood trees, the largest tree in the world by volume, some reaching heights of 275 feet tall and the base circumference at over 100 feet wide and over 3,200 years old. Sequoia National Park is located in southern Sierra Nevada mountain range in the state of California, 80 miles east of the city of Fresno, California, 230 miles southeast of San Francisco, California, and 225 miles northeast of Los Angeles. Sequoia National Park is America's second oldest national park. It became a park on September 25th, 1890, and it protects 404,064 acres of forested mountainous terrain, including the highest point in the continuous U.S., which is Mount Whitney at 14,505 feet tall. The park sees about 1.2 million annual visitors each year. Sequoia National Park shares a northern boundary and park services with neighboring Kings Canyon National Park. There are two main entrances, one on the west and one on the north. Both are located on California 180 Highway or Highway State Route 198, also called the General Highway Scenic Road. Both parks are part of a larger ecosystem that includes nearby Sequoia National Forest, the giant Sequoia National Monument, and historic lands of local Native Americans. They all share a common goal and were put in place to protect the giant sequoias from overlogging. We started our adventure by visiting and touring the Giant Forest Museum, located along the 32.5-mile General's Highway Scenic Road through the park. This museum is in a historic building built in 1928, formerly used as a market, nestled among the giant sequoias, offering exhibits, films, ranger info, and programs about the tree's ecology. We learned that wildfires play an important role in the life cycle of these trees. Modern wildfires with more fuel can kill adult sequoia trees. However, these conditions spur seedlings to sprout and offer hope for future giants. To most people, the reference to redwoods and sequoias mean the same thing. But after our visit to this museum, we realized they are different and unique species. They are members of the same family, but distinct in many fascinating ways. First of all, there are three types of redwood trees: the giant sequoia that lives only here, the coastal redwood tree that lives only along the moist coastal areas of Northern California, Oregon, and Washington, and the dawn redwood tree that lives only in China. Each have a different shape, leaf, and cone that produces seeds that grow new trees. The cones and seeds of a giant sequoia are 3 times larger than coastal redwoods. Coastal redwoods are the tallest tree on the planet, growing up to 300 plus feet tall. The giant sequoia is both tall and wide, growing up to 275 feet tall, with a much larger base or thicker trunk with much more volume. The dawn redwood tree in China can grow up to 140 feet tall. The base can be up to 6 feet wide. The famous massive sentinel tree stands just outside the museum at 257 feet tall with its huge 25-foot trunk. Located just 0.3 of a mile to the right of the Giant Forest Museum is the 1-mile iconic Big Trees Trail. This is a paved boardwalk trail that loops through this giant sequoia forest, circles around a meadow, and it has informative displays, benches to take in these beautiful trees in their natural environment, as well as a potential to see this park's wildlife like black bears, marmots, deer, and ground squirrels. Thanks to the conservation efforts of the National Geographic Society and appropriation by the U.S. Congress, funds were secured to purchase these tracts of lands back in 1916 for the benefit and enjoyment of future generations. And these massive sequoias that can be found nowhere else in the world were saved.
This is what they call the tunnel log. It was built back in 1937 when this tree was downed, and they cut a hole through it, and it's only 8 feet tall, so we can't fit through it with our camper, but other folks are driving through it still to this day. So it's kind of a cool feature. You can also walk on the top of it, take your picture along the top of the tree. Several people are doing that now. There's our rig right there. There is no way that will fit in that little hole in that tunnel in that tree. These people are going to drive through it. So it's 21 feet wide, 21 feet base diameter, and it fell back in 1937, and the length is 275 feet long, but the tunnel itself is 8 feet high by 17 wide, so only certain cars can fit through it. So these folks are climbing up to the top of it to get their picture taken.
A 1.6 mile round trip hike from the trailhead at Crescent Meadow takes you to the oldest structure in Sequoia National Park, to Tharp's Log. This is a unique cabin built by Hale Tharp back in 1861 inside a hollowed out fallen giant sequoia tree. Tharp was a cattle rancher and the first non-Native American to explore the giant forest. Tharp modified a massive fire-hollowed sequoia log, added a fireplace, a chimney, bed, table, shingled the walls and roof to create a rustic dwelling.
This is Crescent Meadow. It's in the park. It's near Moro Rock and some of the other features of the park. It's just a really nice little meadow. It's kind of flat surrounded by sequoias all the way around it. And this particular one is a down sequoia, and look how tall it is. It stretches across the meadow almost completely. We are in Sequoia National Park, and we are at a place called the Auto Log. This particular tree, over 270 feet tall, fell back in 1917, and this was a tourist attraction for many years because they would allow the vehicles, Model Ts at the time, to drive across this log. So this was the driving spot. You pulled in here, and it was carved out in the log itself, and you drive across it. As you can tell, the structural integrity of this has been jeopardized, so you could actually fall through with your vehicle nowadays. But they let you drive across it, take a picture with your vehicle and your family in the vehicle. Back in the day, in the 1930s, 40s, you could be in your vehicle on this auto log, is what they called it. And so it was right here amongst a lot of the other giants. But this is back on by Moro Rock, where Jeff and I went to the top of it, and there's our rig. Jeff's waiting for me with the dogs, and this is the auto log. So pretty cool little feature that they have still in the park with the history, but they don't allow people to drive across this any longer. But the base diameter of this tree was 21 feet, and it fell on its own in 1917. But it's still here today. They've got it sectioned off, so you can just walk across it still, but you can't drive across it.
We secured a beautiful campsite at the Lodgepole Campground, site number 154, along the scenic Marble Fork Sequoyah River. We enjoyed the purely everlasting wildflowers along the boulders at the river's edge, and playing darts with the dart set hanging from the tree that our camping neighbors accidentally left behind. We enjoyed a warm campfire and looking at the stars. The next morning, we hiked the 1.7-mile round-trip Tokopah Valley Trail up to the Tokopah waterfall. On the Tokopah Falls hike, the trail follows the Marble Fork of the Sequoyah River through forest and meadows into this glacier-carved valley with beautiful wildflowers. We even encountered 2 black bears across the riverbank from the trail on this hike.
Good morning and welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff. We are on Tokopah Valley, and we've hiked back about a mile and 0.7 back to these falls. This is in the valley here at Sequoia National Park, and it is August the 18th. There's Jeff, he's waving. See if I can, oh yeah, he's moving ahead of me. But of course I have to stop and take pictures, but pretty cool rock formations and a lot of this granite, boulders everywhere, and so that's the actual trail right there that you come up. But this is called Tokopah Falls and Tokopah Valley. So this is the end of the canyon, so we've hiked up here from Lodgepole Campground where we spent the night. Hi there and welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff. We are at Tokopah Falls and Sequoia National Park. And this is all granite. It's back here in the very terminus of the canyon here. And we camped at the base way down there. And we hiked up here 1.7 miles, so it'll be a 3.4 round trip, and that little trickle right there is the falls. Now normally it would be really cascading, but it's a low rainfall year for us here in California, as well as it's late in the season. So probably in the springtime this will be cascading through here. It'd be quite a view, but it's called Tokopah Falls. It was named after named by the Native Americans that lived in this area prior to 1888, when the European settlers came into this area, started logging all the trees and wreaking havoc to the environment. But we have made this a national park, Sequoia National Park. So with the efforts of those early forefathers of John Muir and folks like that, this has become a national park, and we've saved the trees and we've saved this beautiful view. I'm going to flip around the camera so you can see the valley. So this is what the valley looks like. It's about 8:30 in the morning right now, so the sun is just rising over our shoulders to the east and over that canyon wall right there. But you can see all of the interesting markings that the water has made on the sides of this granite. And Jeff and I were just talking, we think that, there's probably several more waterfalls besides this little trickle of the Tokopah Falls. We think it cascades here by this gentleman it just us and him back in here this morning. A few other people we saw on the trail, but it's kind of peaceful and really enjoyable hike. So it was well worth it, even though the falls are not cascading this time of year. Before we left our camp, we toured the Lodgepole Visitor Center located near the campground. The Visitor Center is next to the market, cafe grill, public showers, and laundromat. The Visitor Center was recently updated in 2023 and has exhibits about the park, the giant sequoias, and has park rangers to answer questions and to get that park stamp, maps, and informational brochures. Next, we hike the 0.5 of a mile trail to the General Sherman Tree. This giant sequoia tree is the largest tree in the world. This tree is the biggest living single-stem tree on the planet by volume. It is not the tallest or the widest, but it holds the title for the overall mass and volume. It is 275 feet tall, 36 feet wide at its base, and approximately 2,200 years old and still growing. Oh, and the weight of this tree is 1,400 tons, or roughly equivalent to 15 adult blue whales, 10 diesel-electric train locomotives, or 25 military battle tanks. They used to let you wrap your arms, try to, take 50 people and go around the base of the tree, but you can see there's some folks at the base taking pictures of the tree. And so during the massive wildfires in California back in 2021, this tree was protected and saved by fire by wrapping protective aluminum material all the way around its base. The Douglas squirrel, often called a chicory, a small chatter-prone conifer specialist frequently found in Sequoia National Park, plays an important role in the forest life cycle. They primarily consume seeds inside the cones of the giant sequoia.
They are scatter hoarders that bury the cones, sometimes creating large accumulating piles of cones, scales called middens. These chicories are crucial to the giant sequoia's life cycle by acting as a primary seed disperser, facilitating the release of seeds from cones off the tree and aiding in forest regeneration. The giant sequoia trees possess serotinous cones that remain closed and attached to the branches for up to 20 years, holding a bank of seeds. Heat from wildfires or drying during seasons of drought causes these cones to dry out, shrink, and open, releasing 1,000 seeds or more precisely when the conditions are best for germination in the nutrient-rich ash from wildfires. Giant sequoias have a thick, spongy, and fibrous bark, often 1 to 2 feet thick, which serves as an insulation to the tree's living tissue to help it survive during wildfires.
They have chemicals in their bark system to protect them from the forest fires. It's about 2 feet thick, so it is a chemical that it has developed over years to protect it from bugs and protect it from wildfires and all kinds of things.
The Congress Trail is a 2.7 mile path that leads off of the General Sherman Trail. This trail leads to the Crescent Tree that is one of the world's oldest, estimated to be over 3,200 years old. It stands 247 feet tall, and it ranks as the second largest tree in the world by volume. Located near and slightly uphill from the Crescent Tree is the Chief Sequoia, a giant sequoia named in 1928 by Park Superintendent Colonel John R. White to honor Sequoia, the person that developed the Cherokee syllabary, enabling reading and writing in Cherokee language in 1821. The Senate is a tightly clustered group of 7 to 8 massive sequoia trees in the giant forest. They were named the Senate in 1922 by Park Superintendent Colonel John R. White to honor the U.S. Senate. This group of trees, along with the nearby House group, represents a stunning historic gathering of ancient trees known for their immense size and fire resistance.
Welcome to another day of adventures with Wes and Jeff, and we are at a place called Moro Rock, and it is in Sequoia National Park. It's 350 steps up from the parking lot all the way up to the top of the rock, and It has grandiose views of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, as well as the burnt out portion from the complex fire that happened a couple years ago, unfortunately, and kind of devastated certain sections of this park. But you can see off in the distance the granite from the High Sierra there, and we are wrapping our way around these rocks. This rock is called Moro Rock. It is here at Sequoia National Park. So I'll take another picture when we get to the very top. It's 350 steps up, and so I forget what the elevation climb is, but it is quite a little trek, but it's kind of hazy today. We don't really have any wildfires to report here in California right now, but it's a little hazy. It kind of gets sucked in here. On Moro Rock. It's 350 steps up to the top of this guy, and you can walk right out to the end of the rock. And these folks are from Italy, and then we just took pictures of people from Spain. So we're the only ones that are weird here. We're from California, of all places. Imagine that. But anyways, this is Moro Rock. It sits way up on the top, and we are going to take our picture here at the end of the rock. Kind of had to, as Jeff was making fun of trying to climb up on the top, but there's the Sierras off in the distance there, and then we're just going to do a little panoramic here. This is out at the end of the rock. It's quite a little journey up to the top. It's kind of a fun at Sequoia National Park, and that's the view from the very tip. As you go past this point right here, it talks about the dark skies, so you can see all the stars. And this is called Moro, M-O-R-O Rock. You ever get a chance to get out to Sequoia National Park out here in California, in the Central Valley part of California, come up to see Moro Rock, come see the Sherman Tree and some of the other wonderful things to see here at Sequoia National Park. A guy rappel off the side of this thing. I'm not sure if it was legal, but it was definitely an interesting experience to watch him rappel down the side of this. So he's on his way back up, and I took pictures of his ropes. So this is the view from about 3/4 of the way up. It's 350 steps up to the top of Moro Rock. Quite a viewpoint from here.
Sequoia and adjacent Kings Canyon National Parks range in elevation from 1,350 feet up to 14,494 feet, with an amazing variety of wildlife in this biodiversity of environments that adapt to high snowy peaks on the mountains, like the gray-crowned snowy finch, the cute furry little pika, to the mountain yellow-legged frog, to the conifer forest animals that thrive in the cool, moist woods like the white-headed woodpecker, the pine marten, and the colorful mountain king snake, to the lower elevation foothill animals that adapt to the more dry and hot summer like the California quail, the venomous western rattlesnake, and the gray fox.
That is Moro Rock at Sequoia National Park. This is the overlook on the way in from the south entrance. We're taking that route back. So that is 6,725 feet up. That's where we were earlier, and you look really close. I don't know if you can get it, but there are people up there. That's where we were earlier. Climbed to the top of that rock. It doesn't look that bad from here. I mean, it's just really tall up, but we're at about 4,900 feet right now, so it's quite a drop. That's where that guy was jumping off the side and doing the rappelling. We are at something that they call Tunnel Rock. We've been to Tunnel Log and the Auto Log, and now Tunnel Rock. And this is a rock that fell, and they allowed the vehicles to pass through here. But now, in recent years, now that we have much taller vehicles and campers, etc., they have a bypass, so you could drive around it. But it's kind of a cool stop to check out. They don't allow cars to drive through it any longer, but it's what they did allow back in the day. So this is it, and this big boulder fell down, and they had to, and it was fell just to the right spot that they allowed people to drive under it, and then they supported it, and so you could drive under it. It was kind of a neat entrance into Sequoia National Park. And this is on the south entrance side. Other people are thinking about, hey, I want to stop and see this. But it's kind of a big boulder, and it kind of stretches across the whole length of the two-lane road, actually. It was a two-lane road, but one side was a lot lower than the other. But, oh, there's Moro Rock off in the distance. That's where we climbed up to earlier today. So we're going out the south entrance this time. And this is called Tunnel Rock.
We conclude our trip today here at the south entrance to the park at this historic 80-year-old sign that was originally created to honor Sequoia, the Cherokee scholar whose invention of the alphabet for his native Cherokee language brought significant advances in literacy. Thank you for joining us today on our 2-day adventure here at Sequoia National Park here in California. Whatever you're doing today, get out to the great outdoors and do something that makes you smile.